Today, we are addressing our dependency on Russian oil, and let's be clear, it will not be easy.
G7 leaders have pledged to end dependency on Russian energy by phasing out or banning import of Russian oil. Of course, this didn't happen out of the blue. Russia is accused of financing its war on Ukraine through its oil and gas exports to Europe. Russia is a top oil exporter to global markets, and a ban on oil imports will certainly be an economic blow for Moscow. The US already imports a relatively small amount of energy resources from Russia and has also banned the import of Russian oil and gas. But parts of Europe are heavily reliant on Russian oil. The EU gets a quarter of its crude oil from Russia. While the G7 announced plans to phase out Russian oil imports, the EU is also too much dependent on Russian gas to consider banning it in the short term. So it might not be as easy as it sounds. After all, Russia has historically been EU's largest gas supplier. And as the European Commission's president puts it, the bloc is vulnerable as it imports 90% of its gas. This dependency did not happen overnight. Back in the 1950s, most of Europe burned coal, but it had a major drawback: it was incredibly dirty. Gas, on the contrary, was cheaper, cleaner, and easier to transport, so it became an essential for Europe. The European Commission, however, says it wants to cut dependency on Russian gas by 2/3 this year and end its reliance on Russian supplies completely well before 2030.
This will end our over-dependency and give us much-needed room to maneuver.
But do they have an alternative? The EU executive said it would switch to alternative supplies and expand to clean energy. The new plans come on top of climate change policies. The EU is currently negotiating to cut emissions. This would alone cut EU gas up to 30% by 2030. The Commission says the US and Qatar could replace more than a third of what Europe gets annually from Russia. Wind and solar projects are also among the options. The bloc is expected to settle on two main challenges in the shortest time: how to pay for Russian energy in a way which doesn't breach or undermine EU sanctions, and how to source and develop alternative supplies to move away from reliance on Russia.